more and more people are choosing Godot as their main game engine. However, do you also have to make that choice? Today I wanna help you with this as someone who has been using Godot for over 4 years. Let's start. So to help us with this, I have elaborated this table that we are going to be discovering as the video goes by, in which we are basically going to be discussing the main things that game engines are discussed for, and well, we have here Godot, and let's say that other engines that you may consider are Unity and Unreal. We could add in this category as well as using no engine, maybe game maker, whatever. The main aim of this is to compare Godot versus any other engine in general, okay, because of course other engines are of course different between them. So for the first criteria, we're going to be talking about free and open source, and of course Godot is free and open source, and well, other engines are not. Basically you can download Godot and literally do whatever you want with it. You can modify it and sell it as your own product. You will never have to pay any kind of license fee or whatever, because the owner of it is basically the community, so nobody owns Godot. And of course behind Unity, Unreal and other engines, there is an established company and established team behind working on that. Godot also has its own team behind, of course, but it's not as huge as the ones that you may have in Unity or Unreal. In most cases this is something good for Godot because and for developers, because you have to pay no licensing fees, and the fact that it is open source, it means that there will be no problems with the company modifying the terms from one day to other as it happened with Unity, okay? Secondly, in terms of power, at least in the cases of Unity and Unreal, they are slightly more powerful than Godot. Godot is still quite powerful, okay? Maybe a couple of months, a couple of years ago, maybe I would say that it wasn't a powerful engine, but there have been a lot and massive creations with Godot, both in 2D and 3D, that demonstrate that indeed Godot is quite a powerful engine. It is not close to Unity and Unreal in some aspects and in more advanced and complex games, but its power is still quite interesting for most usages. But of course, if you want to create more realistic, more complex 3D games, definitely maybe Unity, Unreal or other engines are more worth considering. Next, one of the best advantages of using Godot that I would say is the easiness that it provides in the 2D environment. For me and for most developers, just the node system, the scene system, the scripting language and all that just makes it too easy to create 2D games without having to go through the harm of other engines that maybe are more complicated, maybe the hierarchy system is more complex. So in Godot, as soon as you start creating something in 2D, you realize how easy it is and how much easier it is to do it in Godot than in Unity, for example. Now all the other engines, as they have much more time in the market, of course they still have an amazing 2D, super performance, easy to use, etc. But the system that Godot provides in terms of the nodes, the scenes, the scripts, etc., for me and for a lot of developers is just much simpler. Now in terms of the physics engine, even though in the latest updates Godot is for example implementing physics interpolation that is just meant to make physics a little bit smoother, more performant, etc., in spite of that, they aren't as polished as the physics that you may have in Unity or Unreal, because it does lack some performance, and sometimes when you want to create some kind of behavior, it may just not behave as it should, or you don't achieve the desired results as fast as you do in Unity than you would do in Godot. So yes, Godot physics are indeed quite good, but sometimes the behavior that you want to achieve, you are going to be achieving it much easier and with much less time spent in Unity, for example, than in Godot. Something also quite interesting about Godot is the fact that it is always receiving updates. I'm talking about something like every 10-15 days we are getting some kind of update. Of course they aren't maybe super huge updates changing everything, but they are smaller updates adding tiny features, tiny bug fixes to the engine. And that is amazing because it always keeps the ball rolling, it always keeps releasing more things that you are interested in checking out, whereas other engines like do not really receive a lot of updates, because how they do it is that they release one update every, I don't know, 1 or 2 years with a lot of changes, okay? But well, in the meantime, from those 1 or 2 years, you get literally nothing or super small updates that literally do anything. Now the last point has to do with the future of their engines, because basically numbers are showing that more and more people are choosing to use Godot instead of other engines. And this is something that happened too fast, because 1 year, 2 years ago, literally 80% of people, 90% of people were using basically Unity or Unreal. But today, there is something like 40%, 30% of people using the Godot engine, and the other portion of that is Unity and Unreal. But well, this means that Godot is growing even more, and this really has to do with the thing of being free and open source, okay? Because people now want to have more and more control over the software that they're using, they want to have full confidence, and they want to just be relaxed because of the fact that there is going to be no company behind that from one day to other screw this up, modify the terms, the terms of using the engine, and that basically you would start losing a lot of money from the products that you have already launched, or from the products that you would create in the future, or even that you were creating. So the Godot's future is actually something that is of course uncertain, but what is certain is that more and more people are getting interested in this model that Godot has of being free and open source, and that less and less people is using private engines such as Unity and Unreal because of this same topic. Now the last point has to do with money and jobs, and actually I have dedicated a whole video on this, so you can go check it out. As you can see, it is also a quite recent video titled "How does a Godot developer make money?" And basically I have been able to make money with Godot, and here I am showing you the main sources of income that Godot provides. And actually this comment actually caught my attention, because here we can see only found 1 job offer in 3 years for Godot. Most of them are still for Unity, Unreal, Cocos, or even Lua Love, but never for Godot. So this is also something that you really have to consider when choosing or switching to Godot. And that's the fact that if you want to get, let's say, a formal job at a company developing directly games for the company, it is going to be mostly impossible, okay, right now. Because Unity and Unreal have been the engines that companies have been using for decades. And Godot has only become really popular like the last year or the last 2-3 years. Of course, maybe the situation changes from here to 2, 3, 5, 10 years. But if you right now have to pay the bills and you're dreaming of finding a job with Godot, it is going to be quite complicated. That's why this video is actually quite interesting, because if you really want to use Godot and you want to make a living of that, trust me, this video is literally gold. So yes, after discussing all this, what do you do? I would say that you take a look at this table and see what you want to do. Because if you are dreaming of creating super powerful games in 3D with amazing physics, of course Godot may not be the best option here. But this is just one case out of 100 probably. So at least that is the case, I would really recommend at least you check it out, because it is an engine amazing. It is just amazing. The tools, the programming language, the community, the documentation. So you will literally lose nothing if you in the weekend start trying it out, or even one complete week. But also at the same time, I would really consider this of getting a job, because I actually learned Godot as my first engine. Well, when I finished up learning, let's say that I dedicated 1 whole year just to learn it and to create my own things, and when I wanted to apply for some companies, I realized that literally no company was asking Godot experience, and even when I sent them a message, the CV, an email or whatever, I was getting literally no response. And yes, because they were working with another completely different engine. So yes, definitely if what you want is to make money with the engine, let's say in the formal way, in a job or something like that, it's going to be quite complicated. And for that you will have to explore alternatives, ways of making money, as the ones that I mentioned throughout this video. So if this table has helped you, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. See you in the next one, and bye bye.